Acts chapter 5. We've got a story here about Ananias and Sapphira. One of the more entertaining stories, actually, because who doesn't like seeing people get killed? But the story in Acts 5 really is part 2 of the story that comes in Acts 4 about a guy whose name is Joseph. Now, I think Shane probably told you this in the last session, but let me reiterate. Luke likes introducing a figure who will later play a prominent role in the book. Barnabas, as his nickname is going to play a major role in the book of Acts later. But he's just introduced here as kind of a snippet to whet your appetite. And what he does is sells a piece of property, gives the proceeds to the church, and surely everyone in the church went, dude, that was awesome. And they start talking about, over dinner and over coffee at Starbucks, did you hear what Barnabas did? Like, he sold a whole piece of property and gave it to the poor people of the church, and isn't that awesome? And what a great Christian he is. And because of what Barnabas did, other Christians were inspired to do similar kinds of benevolent things. And one of the examples of a similar kind of benevolent act is Ananias and Sapphira. They went home and over their coffee table, they didn't really have a coffee table, obviously, but over some discussion, Ananias and Sapphira had a conversation that went something like this. Oh, honey, did you see what Barnabas did? Oh, yes, I did. That was wonderful. And I think we could do something like that. I think we should, yes. How about if we sell this piece of property over there? I would agree we ought to do that. I don't know why she's speaking as a Southern belle, but anyway, they both agree. The problem was, at some point in the conversation, one of them, you can blame Ananias if you don't like men, you can blame Sapphira if you're a misogynist, but one of them said, but I don't know that we should give all of it away, which would have been fine. There's no reason they have to give all of it away. But the other then said, but if we don't give all of it away, then people won't look at us in the same way they look at Barnabas. Because Barnabas gave it all, and what a blessing it was, and what a sacrifice he made. What if we sold it all, gave part of it to the church, and just kept some back? You know, you've been wanting a new mink shawl. I get that for you. I've been wanting a new bass boat. I get that for me. For whatever reasons, they kept some of the proceeds of this sale to themselves. Which, again, it's not a problem. The problem is, when they gave the money to Peter, they made it look like it was the whole gift. They lied. That was the problem. So the story begins like this. Now a man named Ananias, together with his wife Sapphira, sold a piece of property. With his wife's full knowledge. The specific Greek word is collusion. They're in cahoots. They have planned this out so that they give the money and act like it's the whole amount of the sale. He kept back part of the money for himself. Another interesting Greek word, kept back. It is a word that could be translated as pilfering. Or, if it's a lot of money, you would call it embezzlement. And it's used in Titus chapter 2, verse 10. And there it could be translated again, embezzlement. And that's like wrong. Another place we find this is in the Greek translation of the Old Testament. At Joshua chapter 7. Anyone know what happened there? Like, and what's his name? He kept some of the spoils. You need to remember this guy's name, and it's easy to remember his name because after they stoned him, he was Achan. No, I totally reject your pity laugh. Achan and Ananias are very much alike. Think about the similarities. Both of them were punished very severely, like killed. Okay, and Achan is even worse because not only does he die, his wife dies, his kids die, his donkeys die. You feel sorry for the donkeys. I mean, they were just hanging out. And both of them pilfered things that they should not have taken. And for Achan, it was the gold and the garments, and you're not supposed to take any of that, so God found him out. And both of them are found out by God. With Achan, it was by casting lots, and with Ananias, it was this revelation of the Holy Spirit. Both of them are severely punished because they are on the precipice of the promised land. I mean, they've just entered, they're marching in, and both of them marred the community of God's people at the very beginning. You know what that's like. Does anyone have new sneaks on right now? You got new shoes. Nice. What kind are they? Skechers. Oh, sorry, dude. Just accidentally stepped on them. Doesn't it make you mad? I mean, if I come and step on your shoes, I mean, it's like, who cares? They're old, ratty things anyway. But your shoes are brand new. Don't you hate it the very first time you get a scuff on your sneaks? The very first time, any of you have a new car? Your parents bought you a new car to go to college? You got one? Anyone confess? Have you got a scratch on it yet? No? You dig it? Oh, actually, you've got a scratch on your car because of Tony. Is that right? Am I reading this right? Well, okay, tell us the story. What do you do? Because you can't actually sue him, but we can, because you're Christians. But we can corporately mock him as punishment for this. So go ahead.
It was actually before. It was technically my car. It was my mom's car before mine. But we were at his girlfriend's house actually, and it was partly my fault because I parked the car and maybe about 6 inches of it were out of the driveway a little bit because I was parked behind her car, and his car was parked on the street, and he paid no attention to the fact that he was parked on the street and just backed up.
No, my windows were fogged up.
Backed up that into
Wait a minute. So what I'm understanding is you were at your girlfriend's house and your windows were fogged up. That's all I need to know. Story's over.
He didn't even tell me that it happened until he told my parents the next morning at church. He refused to tell them anywhere else but at church because it was church.
Well, no, look, according to this story, people die in church. So, dude, that wasn't the brightest move, but all right. And isn't it true that the first scratch you just go, oh,